Hello and welcome to the MAC weather page for this Thursday, April 26th. And with Turkey Day starting in Canada, certainly a good thing the weather's starting to turn around. I was feeling like I might be in the crosshairs. Again, we expect a pretty warm up here early next week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I think could be in the 70s. Tuesday, we could see the warmest temperatures in the mid 70s, maybe even upper 70s. We'll keep an eye on that. And today's going to be a pretty nice day though, with lots of sunshine, highs 62 to 65. And again, this will be the best day we see until early next week because we got some cool air coming in. In fact, could be even some light showers across the area tonight, and then again maybe for later on tomorrow night. And some of those could be mixed with some snowflakes as you get into central and north central lower Michigan. But overall, precipitation amounts will be quite light. Can't totally rule out maybe the grass could turn a little bit white in some areas tomorrow night, but we'll see how that works out. And if we look at yesterday, we had a high of 58 and a low of 42. 200ths of an inch of precipitation, and on this date back in 2009 we had a wet day. 3.4 inches of rain fell. Again, that was about 9 years ago. And if we look at conditions around the area this morning, mainly in the 30s, cool spots, upper 20s in Lakeview and Newaygo, low 30s in Clarksville, and a warm spot down in southeast lower Michigan with upper 30s. If we look at the radar, again, no precipitation across the Great Lakes, only off to the far eastern lakes, but nothing affecting the MAC and LAC areas this morning. On satellite, you can see kind of what's going on. We're getting squeezed here today, and that'll give us some nice sunshine and temperatures mild. But then you can see as the northern jet moves to the north and then it causes it to crash further east, that's what's going to allow a couple of really chilly days, 2 or 3 or 4 days of pretty chilly weather with highs mainly in the 50s over the weekend. In fact, as we get into Saturday, maybe upper 40s to low 50s for highs. And then we'll start to see warm up Sunday, but especially for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So this cool air is going to be a fairly short-lived event. We're starting to see that transition to spring where we have a little bit longer and more stronger warm periods and less intense cold periods. But still, over the next couple of weeks, we see plenty of cold air. I'll show you that in a minute, compared to normal, that is. On the weather map this morning, you can see the next system that's going to be moving in. Notice the blue dashed line. Anything north of that could be a mix of precipitation. As we get into Friday morning, you can see that weather map showing that central Michigan on and off to the north could have a mix of a few rain and snow showers. Again, precipitation amounts over the next 3 days is going to be quite light. And finally, as that system moves off to the east, high pressure off to our northwest is going to bring a clockwise circulation down out of Canada, ensuring that we see some pretty warm air. But there's a strong jet that's going to be pushing this system out of the way as we get into early next week. As far as precipitation, over the next 6 days, notice how very little, much of this will be for the next 72 hours. But other than that, very little precipitation expected over the next 6 days. But if we just add one more day to this forecast, you can see a lot of precipitation begins to move in. We could have a pretty significant rain event as we get towards next Thursday or Friday, somewhere in that time period. As that system moves through, could have some thunderstorms. And again, that'll bring cooler air in, and that'll run into that 70-degree warmth. So again, I think there's a decent chance we could have some good thunderstorms as we get later next week. But for the first couple, 3 days of the week, it looks like very nice conditions, very warm 70s. As far as the extended outlook, the 6 to 10, you can see what's going on here. We're going to be days 6, 7, and 8 will be a transition day where we're going to be warmer than normal and then a little bit wetter than normal, and that'll be mainly for that system later next week. And then behind that, we cool off quite a bit as we see the ridge reestablish itself off to the west, troughing across the central portions of the U.S., and near to normal or slightly above normal precipitation in 8 to 14. I think the most precipitation we're going to get is going to be later on next week. And you can see why we're going to cool off in that extended period, mainly days 9 through 13. Day 8 will be a transition period, but the Madden-Julian oscillation is going to be moving into phase 1, and that's a pretty cold phase. This is what phase 1 looks like for the very end of April, the very beginning of May, the first week or two of May. That would provide very cold normal readings for the area when we're in phase 1 of the MJL, and it looks like that's where we're heading to. So that's why we do think we see a pretty significant cool off once we get past that warm air later on next week. As far as the forecast goes, this is outdated, sorry about that, but temperature is going to be in the low to mid 60s today. We'll see temperatures in the 50s over the weekend. Again, the coldest day Saturday may have to struggle to get to 50. And again, we could see a couple of wet snowflakes in there. And then as we get into Monday, temperatures are going to really warm up. Sunday, we could actually be a little warmer than the 59 degrees. we could actually see low 60s. We'll see how that goes. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week are going to just be great days with very warm temperatures in the 70s. It's going to feel more like summer. As far as weather watch this morning, nothing going on with the exception of a frost advisory back in the northeastern portions of Kansas. But for the Great Lakes, we don't expect any adverse weather here right on through the extended period as it looks right now. Thanks for stopping by and have yourself a great day, and 73s to all.